Develop a fortune state of mind, state of mind. It's time for a date with, time for a date with the Dorseys.
Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another Date with the
Date
Dorseys.
with the Dorseys. Yes.
I am one of your favorite hosts, Dr. Jatan and
Floyd Dorsey, the fourth.
And together we are Dim, Darn, Dorsey.
One more time.
I said Dim, Darn, Dorsey.
3 times.
Dim, Darn, Dorsey.
All right.
And we are back for another episode. As old boy would say, I don't even remember his name.
Oh boy, okay.
What did he say? And another one.
And another,
no. What's his name?
DJ
Khaled. There you go. And another one. So we have an awesome, amazing, beautiful couple with us today that we're going to be chatting with. And she's already smiling, so I think she accepted that as a compliment.
Yeah, for sure. And you all are certainly in store for a treat here.
Yes. So again, we're continuing our couple series, and obviously we always tell you this, but we're gonna, for those who are just tuning in for the first time, let you know what we talk about, so you'll know who you're planning the playpen with, even though we're grown, but this is considered like a little playpen. We're gonna have a good time, right?
That's it.
So we typically talk about the 5 F's, and these 5 F's are pillars that build up to this fortune state of mind movement that we have, right? And the fortune state of mind is not just about money in the bank, again, although that's a big part of it.
It's a huge part of it, but it's not all about it.
Not all about it, right? So the 5 F's, faith, family, fun, fitness, and finances are all of the pillars that build up to developing, to creating, to
that
becoming.
Fortune state of mind.
Absolutely. And so again, we have our couple series going on, so this falls right under family. And we are going to go ahead and jump right into this thing.
Yes.
But before we do,
let's allow our guests. No.
We got to tell them, first how to follow us, and then we're going to introduce our guests, baby.
Let's do it.
Okay. So if you would like to follow us, which I know you do, find us on Instagram and Facebook at Dim Darn Dorseys. Okay. Now we've said that a few times, and remember it's DEM, not THEM, because you won't find us that way. It's DEM.
DEM.
Darn Dorsey.
That's it. Real easy.
Real easy. Okay, so let's jump right into this thing. Who do we have today?
So our guests, come on, introduce yourselves. We have.
Okay, my name is Melina Arnold, and I am from Colombia.
Yes.
And I married Edward Arnold, and we have 2 kids.
Awesome. That's
Nice.
our Colombian cutie. And then?
Yeah, and I am Edward Arnold. I already was presented by my lovely wife here, so I'm happy to be here with the Dorseys.
Okay,
Yay.
all right. So let's jump right in. We have a few questions just to get you going, and this one is fairly a softball pitch to you. So tell us about your relationship background, primarily. Like, how did you meet? How did this union come about?
Okay, so we met back in college. I came from Colombia and I have a scholarship to play basketball in Jarvis Christian College, and I saw this handsome, bald head.
As he shakes his head in agreement.
And I was like, okay, he's gonna be mine. So
Just like that.
Just like that. And he come on board. And so we got married. We been married for 14. We're about to be 15 years married, and it's the best blessing in my life.
Oh.
Amazing.
How you gonna top that off, Mr. E?
Yeah, let's hear your version of the story, because it's always 2 or 3 sides to it. So I want to hear your take.
Well,
how did it happen? How did it go?
It was almost just like that, but just switched around a little bit, So as she said, she was from Colombia, and she was recruited from Jarvis Christian College, where I also went to play basketball, And that year that she came in, I was more of the, I guess, junior senior level in college at that point. So she came in and she was the new girl on the block, from Columbia.
Look at you.
I saw all the guys looking. I'm like, hey, what these guys looking at? I'm like, the new girl from Columbia, and it happened just like that too. I saw it. I was like, you know what? That's gonna be mine. I'm gonna have to get that. She's gonna have to be.
Claim
Yeah, you know, so I had to fight off all of them, but that's kind of how it happened. I won.
It was worth
I
the
won.
fight,
It was
right?
worth the fight.
Sometimes you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them, and sometimes you just gotta fight for it, right? All right, so good. That's real good. So, going a little bit further, right? As we mentioned earlier, and as one of the things you may know about us, our core tenets are those 5 F's. Those are the pillars that build us up, that sustains us. And they're the priorities, and we make them a priority for our lives because we know that making those items a priority will enrich our lives and those around us. So those 5 F's: faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. But I know every couple has their own like core things that, you know, they're keeping those things as the main thing just so that they can continue to grow and strive forward. So I'm curious from you two, what are, you know, 1 or 2 of those core pillars in your relationship that you hold in higher regard or high esteem?
I think for us, I mean, definitely some of those 5 F's that you mentioned are definitely, you know, in our lives also. Faith, family, and I think we're working on the fun part. You know, we have kids. Of course, we have 2 kids, but we're also working on the fun part just for us as a couple. You know, and I think that really will help us out in the long run. But right now, we got the faith, and we're working on family and finances, trying to get towards the fun part.
Oh, I love that. You know how some people just want to list out what they already got and what, you know, where we are, but I like how Ed just mentioned these are some things that we have opportunities in and we're working on it. We've identified it.
And being that transparent with it to say, hey, we recognize well, we have some opportunities, and here, you know, I'm sure you have some plan that you're going to employ to say, hey, and here are the steps that we're taking. We're going to get to that to improve on.
Right.
You know, so I certainly think that is key. Melina, anything to add on some of those things?
I mean, I think besides what he said is the fitness part is going to the way we're eating now. We change a lot of the habits, and I'm glad he's in the same page that I am, because it changed our life tremendously, our eating habits, and of course we getting the kids on board of that. So that changed a lot towards being healthy also. So and the kids actually in the same path.
Oh, that's amazing. So like, and you'll probably hear this question repeated throughout, but those values of that place or those things you just spoke about, like where did they come from for you all, right? Because I've heard, you know, different couples and different stories, and some say, well, hey, I was just raised this way. Some say I was just raised so differently, like we didn't have a clue, but it was some things I just wanted, and I figured we were missing, right? So for you all, like where did these principles or these core tenets for your lives, where did they come from?
Talking about the fitness part, I think is since both being in the playing sport, and it was kind of easy transition to say, okay, this is, and looking at our families and say, okay, we don't want to go whatever our family is being through. We want to do something different, not just for us, it's just for our kids also. Just build a foundation for our new generations. So we decide to do eating habits better, and also the faith and being involved in church. It was actually help us too, because God first. You have to put God first in our family and the family, and it was helping us to have this foundation in our family.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the foundation I think is a big thing. So we're trying to build our family values up, but the foundation is where you really have to start with. So that's kind of what led us to looking at the health part, because for a foundation, like we have to be here. We need to be healthy, right? So in the way that I was raised, and the kind of things that my family had done growing up, we didn't want that for our family, you know. So we tried to change that.
Why not?
Because we just, you know. I mean, truthfully, a lot of people in our family started having different issues as they got older, you know, and we're trying to figure out where all the issues came from, and it seemed like everybody in the family had some type of a health issue, you know, and it all, for me, it all came back to like what they were doing as far as fitness and then what they were eating, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and a lot of people think that that's hereditary, like cholesterol, blood pressure. But most recent research has shown exactly what you're saying, is that it's really those eating habits that we continue to do along the traditional
I think what's hereditary is the mindset, right? Which is in most cases, almost impossible for a lot of people to change. It's very challenging for them to change. And sometimes you have to be plucked out of that environment to get a different experience, a different outlook to make the change. And sometimes it takes some infusion from the outside coming into your situation to help make that change. But it's the mindset shift that can really set you on a different path. And I agree. I like that thought that you were going with the foods and the health of working out or exercising, whatever that they're doing. From generation to generation, people are just passing that down and calling it a tradition. When, you know, in some traditions you say, is this a healthy thing or is it not? Is it bringing more longevity and value to our lives?
So how are your children adhering to or adjusting to the fitness and or the food changes the dietary changes you have?
I guess for the kids it's easy. Whatever you bring home, that's why they're exposed to. If you're not bringing sodas, candies, they're not gonna be exposed to. So our kids is like, they don't drink any sodas, and when they go out, they're not drinking because they're not used to, and they just like taste is different for them, so they're not drinking. So it's having that, I would say,
like
having
the repetition.
Repetition in home, so that whenever they go out, they don't have to do it because they're not used to it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, we can go into the next question, which is, how do you value family, and how do you prioritize it?
How do we value family? So I think what's one of the things that we're working on as far as the fun part of the family. Like, family is definitely first. You know, our kids, we try to get them involved in different things, and we try to support our kids while at the same time making sure we're doing what we need to do to have the ability to support them.
Absolutely.
You know, and then managing that time is really what's difficult, because you have to do, you know, depends on what kind of job you have. You have to do a certain amount of things, put a certain amount of time into the job that you have, right? And you still need to have that time to put into your kids also, you know, to make the whole family thing work. So, I mean, it's really just a juggling act that we're working on, trying to get the whole family thing really to work smoothly as it should. So. Yeah.
So when you talk about juggling acts, how do you make sure that you are caring for the two of you as well? What's your approach in that?
I think that's the difficult part right now, because of course as a parent you want to put your kids first, and at some point you just forget about the couple. Like, we need a little time for ourselves at some point. And for us it's a little bit difficult because we don't have a family close to, so we can count with and say, okay, this weekend we're just gonna have our weekend and the kids can go somewhere. That's the hardest part that we have right now. Just balance that.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So where did, like, you know, your priority of family and the way you approach family and finding that balance and making sure, where did that come from? I know you mentioned you're from Colombia. How was it growing up with family? What impact did that have on the way you operate today? And then Edward, I know you're from the great East Texas, Tyler, Texas.
The great.
Yeah. So just want to understand, like, from your family backgrounds, you know, thinking about that and how your experience was as a child versus how did that influence the family values that you have now and how you're making it a priority?
Well, I think from my point of view and from how I was raised, you know, it was a typical type of situation, I guess, where the father, the dad was the worker, the breadwinner. You know, he goes out and does the work. My mom, she kind of stayed at home at the beginning. You know, as we were little, she stayed at home a lot, took care of the house, kind of things, you know. But at the expense of my dad always being at work. He's either at work or he's asleep. You know, if he's not at work or asleep, then he's gonna be, you know, he can be drinking his beer, doing what he wants to do. You know, he got to get his time in too, you know.
It is me time.
So me, you know, and then we outside playing around. So it really wasn't a family dynamic as far as, you know, mom, dad, you know, brothers and sisters are playing around like that and having family time. There was really never any family time like that. My dad worked so much. We played outside, and my mom made sure we were okay and everything was going well at the house, you know. And so as that progressed into my family as I got older, that's not really what I wanted for my kids, you know, because I didn't really have a connection with my dad like that, you know. we never really talked about anything that was of importance, you know, that you can really use in real life. We never talked about anything like that. So it wasn't necessarily a positive thing growing up for me, but it taught me what I didn't want to have, you know, for my kids as I grew up. So that's kind of what I got from it.
But one of the main things I think you saw from your dad was provide.
I did see that. Definitely. Provide
and take care of. That was obviously that was a priority for him, right? Yeah. I'm gonna take it, you know, and who knows what he went through, and he probably said, well, you know what, when I get older, when I have my children, I'm going to provide. That's going to be a priority, right? And now you're saying, hey, I know provide, but I'm also going to add this dynamic to it, and you're building on it, and you can see how that will, you know, continue to progress over time, even with your children. They're going to say, you know what, I'm going to provide and I'm gonna spend family time, but you know what?
I'm gonna add this thing.
I'm gonna add this other element that I want for my children, and that's beautiful that, you know, you can take that approach and synergy just build on it. So Melina, coming from Colombia, your experience on, you know, family and what have you taken from that experience and what is it morphed into now?
It's not too far from his story. My dad was working and he was going like months out in different trips, different type of job that he has. And my mama was the one in home. It was 2 girls and 1 boy. So yes, she taught me how to clean the house, how to be the woman that I'm supposed to be when I grew up or whatever. But as far as talking about sitting down with me and talking about, okay, whenever you get a boyfriend or sex or topics like that, was no.
Taboo.
It's just taboo. You can talk about it. Don't touch the stuff. So that's one of the things that I take and I say I'm gonna be talking to my kids about this type of topic because I don't want them to learning outside the house. They can get any different opinions outside. They're not the one I want them to have in my family, right? So I think that was one of the things that I constantly working on it. Be able to talk to my kids about anything.
So I like how you said, for your, similar to Edward's, like to your point, you said one of the things that I really took, my mother is taking care of the house, the cleaning, the taking care of the family. But then there was a piece that was missing, and I'm going to add and build on that as well. Some more education about your own, you know, care and wellness of yourself as it relates to sex and other things that a child, as they go through that, you know, puberty and progress on forward, they're going to experience, right? It's inevitable, right? They're going to experience it, so let me better equip them. Well, it's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. So we want to go into the next piece here?
Well, before we go into the lightning round, I think we have maybe another question. Let's go.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
So you already kind of gave us the insight on how you met and how, you know, this was just the best thing ever for you all to connect, and this is just unicorns and rainbows.
Yay!
So tell us, if you had to offer advice to a younger couple, first off, let's tell the audience, I don't think we've said this, but how long have you been married?
15 years this year.
Okay, and you together?
15. And how long have you been together?
Ooh. Added 3 more?
About
18 years, yeah.
Wow, they real G's. So we're going to go right into this question.
That's it.
So for the young couples, what type of advice would you offer to a young couple?
Well, man, that's a loaded question now. I think it's a lot of things you could probably offer to a younger couple, you know, being from where I'm at right now. But I think the main thing I think would be not to rush into anything. If you're talking about relationship wise or, you know, thinking about getting married and things like that, not to rush into anything and really try to find out who it is that you're dating, that you're thinking about marrying. Maybe try to experience some things that you haven't experienced before. Try to experience some things together, you know, get a good understanding of who it is you're thinking about spending the rest of your life with. You know, you want to talk about finances, you want to talk about family, you know, and you want to talk about fun too. How are you going to make all these things work together, you know, and make sure you're on the same page before you decide to, you know, tie the knot. You know, because it's supposed to be for a long time. That's supposed to be it. That's supposed to be the last knot you tie. You know, so it's a lot of things that go into that, but that's kind of what I think about it.
Yeah. So look into that thing before you sign up for it. Okay. Anything to add?
Well, I'm definitely agree with my husband.
You can tell that they've been married for a while. I'm sorry. Because y'all always agree. So is that part of the rules? Like, that's the advice right there. It's not the words you're saying. You're demonstrating that. Like, you know what? I agree with it. That's beautiful. I'm sorry.
we talk about this kind of stuff in home.
Which
so,
is good. That's a good point to point out as well.
So that's what I'm saying. I agree. And on top of that, I'm gonna say, put your priorities in place. Yes, don't rush, but having a goal, what do you want to do in life, you know? And no matter what, if it's a guy coming or whatever, girl coming, you need to have your priorities in mind and say, okay, this person is taking me out of my priorities, out of my goal, but this person is not. It's not gonna fit in my life, you know. Priorities.
Yeah. That's good.
If I could add one more thing too, I would also like to add, as I learned from being married for almost 15 years now too, is that you don't want to lose yourself also. Like everybody is an individual, you know. And
I think we got some co-hostesses.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. Yeah, for real.
Keep
Let's
going,
build
Ed.
on that.
Yeah, you know, I'm just saying you don't want to lose yourself because you are individual first, you know, and then you come together in this union that this marriage that we have. But you still have things that you like that your spouse or your mate may not like, you know. But you don't want to lose your total identity in trying to conform to somebody else. Have your free time to do the things that you really like to do, even if they don't like to do it, you know. And maybe they do it with you, maybe they don't. But don't lose yourself because you're still an individual.
Yeah, I say that some people, you know, as they think about and considering marriage, think about first thing is knowing and loving yourself, right? So a lot of times you find people 20 to 25, 30 years old, you've been with yourself for 20, 25, 30 years, and you really don't even know yourself, right? And then on top of that, you need to, now that you know yourself, now find a way to continue to love unconditionally that person, that self. And so if you had that trouble, that challenge just yourself for 20, 25, 30 years, think about now just adding somebody else in. It's a whole bunch of, you know, they have to go through that process. And you bring another person in without even really knowing yourself. So I do like that idea, that thought, Edward.
Well, he's co-host now.
Okay, that's it. All right.
They're both co-hosts now. So we have one other question before we go into what we call the lightning round. But before we even do the last question, I want to remind you all that if you're just tuning in, we're talking about just couple love, right? We're attaching this to the family F of our 5 Fs, and we are talking with the Arnolds. We have Ed and Melina here, and we are going to ask them one additional question just before we go into this lightning round, and Mr. Dorsey will explain how we will progress through the lightning round. But before we do all of that, the last question is, what advice would you give yourself for 30 years from now? So say, for instance, you're 30 years older. What would you have told yourself currently to do differently or to continue to do, or whatever that thing is for you? Individually or as a couple?
As a couple, I would say, if I'm 30 years older, what would I tell myself?
You're about 65. So let's say that, for example, you're roughly 40 and now you're 70. What would you tell your 40-year-old self?
I mean, I think we're going in a good direction right now. I would tell myself probably to stay the course, you know, continue to make good decisions, continue to make decisions based off of, 5 years in advance, right? So whatever kind of big decision you make, thinking about what's going to happen 5 years from now, it's still going to be a good decision, because I made a lot of silly mistakes in the past, because I wasn't thinking about years later. So at this point, I just have to make decisions that's based off of 2, 3, 5 year increments, making sure that I'm going in the right direction. So I think I'm going in the right direction right now. So hopefully 30 years from now, I still tell myself, hey, you did the right thing. Keep going in the right direction. Don't make any big decisions without thinking through it.
Good.
I was looking at your wife while you were answering. The way I was looking at her and how she was looking at you, and I just saw like love in her eyes. She was like, "He finally got it. That's my husband. Yes, that's it. Yes."
Only took 20 years. Right?
Yeah. She's proud.
We've been growing together financially, in any aspect, I would say, in the marriage. But I would say, like he said, is we in the right path right now, in the right direction. So I would say, just continue doing that. Maybe take a little bit more risk, because sometimes I'm holding myself, maybe to do something just because, what if this is not working? Yeah. So maybe take more risk on decisions that want to make or something that I want to do it for the future, and I know I better hold that.
So is there something that you can share with the audience today that if you had the opportunity to pop through that thing now, that barrier, what would that one risk be that you take today?
Like I said, I'm a teacher now. I love my career, but my passion is traveling. So one of the things that I always want to do is something that has to do with traveling.
Okay.
Maybe flight attendants, maybe tourist guides, maybe something that has to do with going different places and see the culture, different culture. So I don't know, it's something that I've been holding. So.
All right.
We done put it out there.
It's out there.
Now.
Yes, it is out there. And the most amazing thing about this is that this recording will be available for you all 30 years from now. So when you actually get to that 30-year-old older version of yourself, you can go back and listen to, what was I telling myself? What was I thinking and talking? So it's going to be available. So now we're going into the lightning round. All right. So this is just very simple and easy. Now Dr. Jatan is going to read a few questions. You have 3 seconds to answer. Again, we're trying to keep them real good, straightforward, easy for you, but we just want to hear real fast paced, real quick. After the lightning round, we'll close out and go from there. All right.
Okay.
You ready?
So let's go into, what month did you get engaged in?
May.
Okay. He's just gonna go with
No,
that.
I see that. I don't want to be wrong.
What is your mate's favorite holiday?
Ooh.
That's a good one. Favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday.
Christmas.
Oh. Nah, Christmas is not for me.
All right.
I don't know.
What was his be?
His? I don't know.
Time up.
But yeah,
Time up.
I do not know.
See that we still got some, after 30 years, 15 years, we still got some things to learn. There we go.
Look, she is looking. You guys cannot see the faces. However, Melina is looking like I'm gonna figure this thing out though after today. Next question: where did you and your mate go on your first date?
We went to the lake.
The lake.
The lake.
Okay, we agree on that one. Who's the better arguer, you or your mate?
Me.
I think it's my wife.
Oh, they agree on
Last one.
Okay, final one. What one word does your mate say over and over again that you really do not like?
That's a good one. What's the word you say all the time? It's got to be a Spanish one.
It's in Spanish.
What?
That is porquería.
There you go. That's what it is. There you go.
He's like, I'm
I'm
not
about to
going to
figure out what
say
that
it,
is.
but you go ahead and say that.
What is it?
Translation.
Yeah, translation. I know, Melina, you and I are the only one that speaks Spanish, so,
Whatever.
So we'll tell y'all later.
No, Melina is the only one that speaks Spanish. Nevertheless, that's the conclusion of our lightning round. Again, this has been yet another awesome episode, our couples series. It's following under the family of the 5 F's.
That's it.
And as we close out, we want to say thank you to the Arnolds for taking time out to record with us, to be with us, to share your experience. Hopefully you enjoyed it because we enjoyed you all.
Yes, we did.
Awesome. So again, if you're just tuning in, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Dem Darn Dorseys. Again, that's DEM Darn Dorseys. You can also email us at support@fortuneenterprise.com, and Fortune is spelled IVTUNE, enterprise.com.
One more time on the fortune.
email?
On the fortune.
Okay, so Fortune is spelled IVTUNE, enterprise.com.
That's it.
So this has been yet another Date with the Dorseys. As we close out today, we look forward to you tuning in to the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.
Develop a fortune state of mind, state of mind. It's time for a date with, a date with the Dorseys.